We begin tonight with a major development in the ordeal faced by Canadian Michael Spavor. He's been found guilty of espionage by a Chinese court. The sentence, 11 years, a fine, and an order for deportation. Spavor and fellow Canadian Michael Spavor have been held for more than 2.5 years. Their detention described as stark isolation, subject to constant interrogation, widely believed to be retaliation for Canada's 2018 arrest of Huawei CFO Meng Wanzhou. This verdict comes just one day after another Chinese court upheld a death sentence for Robert Schellenberg, a Canadian convicted of drug smuggling. The timing not lost on Michael Spavor's family and certainly not lost on the Canadian government. Tonight, we'll take you through the guilty verdict and what to make of that sentence. We have comprehensive coverage, and we begin with Katie Simpson, who's been leading our coverage of this breaking news story from Ottawa tonight. Katie, take us through this sentence.
Well, we were expecting this to be a guilty verdict. 99% of the cases like this in China end up with a guilty verdict. That was expected. What is unexpected is one element of the sentence. We were expecting the guilty verdict and then find out what the sentence is. Okay, 11 years, that was expected. Around that range, anywhere after over 10 years was expected. There's going to be a fine. But part of the sentence is a formal order of deportation. And that is the big question in all of this. In China, you don't necessarily have to serve your sentence before you are deported. An example of this we saw back in 2016. Kevin Garrett, he had been found guilty of similar charges. He was a Canadian held in a Chinese jail for more than 2 years. And 2 days after his verdict, he was deported back to Canada. Now, before all of this unfolded tonight, I was cautioned by sources that there's no timeline at play here. That case, the Garrett case, was an extraordinary circumstance that there's no expectation this is going to be turned around in a couple of days. This was an expected step in the Chinese justice system. There was going to be a verdict, and it was widely expected to be a guilty verdict. But the key here is deportation. We do not know when yet, and that's what everyone should be focusing on to find out when, in fact, Michael Spavor will be deported. If that happens before he has to serve any more time, by the way, he's on day 975 at this point. That's when this whole ordeal began. So the key thing to look for going forward is when will he be deported?
Less than 30 seconds, Katie, response from Canada and Canadian allies tonight?
It's huge. At the embassy in Beijing, more than 50 diplomats from 25 different countries, allies, including the United States, Germany, France, Australia, are all there to send a message to Beijing. They all say that these detentions are arbitrary, these charges are trumped up, and they're trying to send a message, a unified message to Beijing that what is going on with these Canadians is unacceptable.
Katie Simpson in Ottawa tonight. Thank you.